This is a class about the historical roots of contemporary Asia. And personally, I think it's going to be really great. But before we can get into it, we have to address what seems like a simple question. What is Asia? Okay, what is Asia? I tried answering this question the way we answer all questions in today's America. I asked Google, and in response, I got a whole lot of maps. So in this one, Asia encompasses a huge swath of land, including most of the Middle East and a big old chunk of Russia. Now this map adds even more of Russia, including Moscow, which we usually think of as a European city. Here, no Russia, no Middle East. This one's about the same as the last, but it adds back Armenia, Georgia, and Azerbaijan, which is weird, right? I mean, what are they doing over there? Now this one subtracts all of Central Asia. Sorry, Mongolia. And this one knocks out Pakistan as well. Why would they do that to Pakistan? That's not cool. Also, did you notice how in a lot of these maps, the island of New Guinea is split right down the middle? So the west half, which is part of Indonesia, is Asia. But the east half, the independent nation of Papua New Guinea, is part of like Oceania or Australasia or something. And that means that these kids in Indonesia's Papua province are Asian, whereas these kids in Papua New Guinea are not Asian. Asian? Not Asian. Asian? Not Asian. Everybody see the difference? Okay, so no one has any idea what Asia is, and that shouldn't be surprising, because if you look at a physical map or a satellite image, Asia isn't anything. Like, it's obvious that Eurasia is just one big continent. And it's kind of crazy that we still teach children that Asia and Europe are two separate places. I mean, hello, they're not. So let's approach this from a different direction. Where does the name Asia even come from? Maybe it's Japanese or Sanskrit, or like ancient Chinese or something. But no, of course not. It's Greek. And if you think about the classical Greek world, Asia actually kind of makes sense as a meaningful place name. You have all these clusters of civilizations surrounding the Mediterranean Sea. So to the north is Europe, meaning, us. To the south is Africa, sometimes called Libya. To the east is Asia, and to the west is, Atlantis. And if you look at world maps based on classical Greek sources, that's what you see. Europe north, Libya south, Asia east. In fact, sometimes Asia seems to include the east and the south. Basically, everything that isn't Europe. And that is really the point. For the ancient Greeks, and for a lot of Europeans and Westerners today, Asia really just means not us. It's a way of saying foreign or different or alien. It's a word that Europeans developed to classify certain groups of non-Europeans, to put them all in a box together. It's not a word that any of those non-European groups originally used to talk about themselves. They might not even have seen themselves as all one group. And that's a problem, because Europe can be fuzzy at the edges, but it mostly hangs together as sort of a cultural identity. It's that part of Western Eurasia that's defined by classical Greece and Rome on the one hand and Christianity on the other. But does Asia hang together in the same way? Is there a common Asian cultural heritage? Well, traditionally, you've got a Chinese cultural sphere over here, defined by classical Chinese civilization, Confucianism, and also Buddhism from India. Then over here, you got a South Asian cultural sphere, defined by classical Indian civilization, and also, in some places, Islam from the Middle East. Then you've got Southeast Asia, which is sort of a mishmash of Chinese, Indian, and local traditions, plus, in some places, Islam from the Middle East via India, and Christianity from European colonists. Now, Central Asia, up here, is sort of its own thing, but with lots of Chinese and Buddhist and Islamic influences. And then, if you want to include them, you've got the Middle East and Eastern Russia, which are both different again. And that means that Asia today is the largest, most dynamic, most diverse, most confusing region of the globe. More people live here than in the rest of the world put together. Really? Asia is home to some of the wealthiest economies on the surface of the earth, and also to some of the poorest. Sometimes those two economies are jammed right next to each other in the same city. Singapore, with more than 5 million people jammed together onto an island half the size of Pinellas County, Florida. Hey there, Shorecrest. Is the most densely populated country in the world. Unless you count like fake microstates like Monaco, and I totally do not. Mongolia, on the other hand, where just 3 million people occupy more area than the North American Great Plains, is the least dense. In terms of politics, Asia has democracies, military dictatorships, pro-business authoritarians, pro-business communists, an absolute monarchy, and, well, whatever this is. So what do all these people actually have in common? Not much. And we have to ask ourselves, does it even make sense to talk about Asia, or Asian people, or Asian culture, or Asian history? Is that even a thing? I mean, am I dumb for offering a class called Asian Studies? And are you dumb for taking it? Well, obviously, I don't think that we're all dumb, but I need another video to explain why.